Hey guys, we're taking a look at analysis on Solana. Since going off of our last video, what we talked about was, firstly, we saw a bit of resistance at the 17% level on the Fibonacci where we saw buyers were coming in. However, because it was still within the accumulation zone, we knew that it had to show extreme confidence and strong buying along with Bitcoin showing it has bottomed out for us to see a breakout. What we also saw was obviously the rejection from the upper level of this accumulation zone. And we essentially gave the target that very likely we're going to be reaching this 38.2 on the Fibonacci, which is coming in at 65.54. Now, along with the rest of the market, we're seeing a massive dump. Solana is down 14% for the day, and you can see where it was rejecting off of. Firstly, it was rejecting off of the 17% on the Fibonacci, and secondly, this flush really came down not only after the rejection of the Fibonacci level, but when we broke out of the accumulation zone, when we broke out of this zone, which we highlighted, the 89 level, you're seeing this flush really starting to happen. Currently at 78.75, and we still have some ways to go, but so we're looking at around a 16% move still yet left in the tank for Solana. Now, one thing I've said this, and it applies to all the other crypto as well, it's just a matter of the beta, the correlation, which is when you look at Solana, one level I think is going to touch will be 65.54. Now, does that mean that it's going to be the very bottom? Well, for that, you need to look at whether or not Bitcoin has found its final support, has found its bottom. Because if it hasn't, if we're going to continuously see Bitcoin free falling, then the same apply to Solana as well. It's just that what we know and what we can target as a trader, or if you want to buy at good accumulation levels, is just that if we're seeing rejections from certain levels, we know that target the next level. So as a trader, we saw rejecting the 17%. We knew it fell below the 17% and this accumulation zone ranging in around 105 to 89. Then we know that we can take this short trade and I'll take profit somewhere around 65.54 with your stop loss just a bit above this accumulation zone. Now, if you were an investor and you want to know areas where you want to get in, then of course 17%, 38%. The list obviously goes further. There is still lower levels. You could be looking at 43, you could be looking at 20, and it's just then about positioning size as it gets lower. For me personally, if I'm looking at this from a investor view, then what I would do is that I would obviously have a bigger size to allocate as it gets to the lower level. So I would potentially put 10% of capital at 17%, and then I'll put 25% when it hits this 38.2% on the Fibonacci level. That's how I would position it if I was an investor, and it's the importance. But does that mean it's going to be the very lowest point for Solana? Of course not. There is still potential room to go if the rest of the crypto market is seeing selling as well. Now, as a trader, what we are looking for is, of course, the short-term movement. And so the same thing applies. Right now, I'm targeting from this 17% to this 38.2. This is something I highlighted in our previous video. This isn't just something I'm saying along on the go. This is something I've said in the previous video. If we're rejecting the 17, if we fall below the 17, we're going to be seeing this 38.2%. And all of these videos are online. They will be kept on public, so we can track back to this at any time. And I will come back to this another day to say that I was right, because what we're going to very likely see is 17% going to that 38.2%. And so that will be my take profit level. From there on forth, what I will do is obviously see how it reacts, because if Bitcoin has bottomed out and we are finding support on 38.2, then there is that potential long trade back to this 17%, back to this 89, 105 accumulation zone. But however, if it fails, then of course we're going to the next area, which I will make an update on that as well. But right now, our target is 38.2, and that's along with the rest of the crypto market as well. If we see Bitcoin having a sign of reversal, then obviously our game plan is changing. But as of right now, if the whole market is selling off and we're looking at a bearish market and we're looking at further decline, then one level I think we're going to reach is this 65.54. As always, that is F Financial Advice, and I'll catch you guys next time.